What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's enjoying their day. I hope everybody's enjoying this World Cup that's going on too. I know I am. Um, the game today was kind of crazy. Argentina losing. Congrats to Croatia. That's pretty cool for them. Anyway, into the real news. So basically, what we're going to cover today is a bunch of different things. We're going to cover some news, this Tether audit, quote unquote. There's a lot of people on both sides of the fence of this one. So we're going to cover that, kind of give you guys my thoughts. I also want to get into like this ICO climate that we're in right now, because back in November, December, even before then, these ICOs were fueled by this Bitcoin and Ethereum kind of swell that we saw, this giant balloon up to 20,000 for Bitcoin. And it seemed to be sort of fueled by, the price increases of Bitcoin and Ethereum and not so much the tech. So I want to kind of talk about, how we can use this ICO climate now, because a lot of people who used to invest in these ICOs won't even touch them with a 10-foot pole now. And granted, it's a bit harder to get into these ICOs, especially if you're in the United States, but this is something that, does affect the overall market. I also want to talk about how the overall crypto market climate has sort of changed from, it kind of started in December when the futures contracts were launched. And I want to talk about that, maybe touch a little bit on the price manipulation that could be going on, may or may not be. I'm not insinuating anything, but man, it kind of looks like there's some manipulation going on here and there. So we will see when the CFTC and the SEC and all these, big firms come, or these big organizations come out and really give us the meat and potatoes of all that investigations. And then at the end, I want to talk about how we're pretty much at the yearly low for Bitcoin volatility and what that means for future price action. A lot of people are starting to feel a little bit more bullish, so that'll be interesting. The BTC dominance is at 40.2%, to be expected. We're still in this bear market. Bitcoin dominance is still rising. So what's pretty wild to me is these cryptocurrency numbers. Obviously on CoinMarketCap, there's many more cryptos out there than 1,604, but there are a ton of cryptos, and this market cap is still extremely small. So that signifies to me that maybe that is why a lot of these ICOs, or a lot of people are not investing in these ICOs, because it's just, it's a bloodbath out there. If you jump into the wrong ICOs, you just end up continually losing money. Anyway, we'll get into that in a second, but this is the quote unquote Tether audit. This is just an article. This isn't the actual audit. You can find that online. Maybe I'll try and link to that if I can dig it up. I was reading it earlier, but basically, I can read this to you. So it wasn't a real audit. It says the Tether transparency update may provide information on the amount of capital that Tether has access to, but it is not an audit. Notably, the report is composed by the law firm Fred Sporkin and Sullivan LLP FSS, not the original financial auditing firm Friedman LLP. So Friedman LLP was, the company that was hired to conduct this audit on Tether a while back. And then, they parted ways for whatever reason. We never really found out why. And then a lot of people got really sketched out about that, because that does seem a little shady to me and to a lot of other people as well. So this is kind of important to all of us who are in Profit Trailer, PT Feeder, you're on Binance, you're on whatever exchange you're on. Tether is a US dollar paired cryptocurrency, right? This is something that a lot of day traders, and bot traders especially too, use to kind of protect themselves from massive price pumps and dumps, right? So when Bitcoin starts to fall by X%, you can funnel all of your money back into US dollar Tether, and you can just kind of coast, because Tether relatively stays around the $1 mark at all times. And you don't partake in those massive downtrends that seem to be happening, especially during the future contracts expiration dates. Hint, hint. That's what we're going to talk about later. But yeah, so Tether is actually, to me, these US dollar, paired current cryptocurrencies are very, very important. for the market in general. Now, if this is a big scam or if this is, some shady dealings are going on underneath, they say up top that Tether represents roughly 17% of all daily crypto trade volume. So that is insane. That's an insane amount of Tether that is out there. $2.6 billion market cap. So if this turned out to be some sort of shady dealing, that would really impact the market. So, Tether came out, what was it, yesterday, I believe, and said that, they conducted some sort of audit. It's not a real audit, but FSS is the company that did it. They're co-founded by FBI Director Louis Freach. If I don't know if I pronounced that right, but they didn't conduct an official audit, but instead published data gathered during a 2-week period in which the firm had access to Tether's accounts for 2 different banks. So earlier this year, Tether engaged Freach, or basically FSS, to review bank account documentation and perform a randomized inspection of the numbers of Tether in circulation and the corresponding currency reserves. So Tether claims that they're backed 1-to-1 US dollar per US dollar Tether. A lot of people don't believe that that's true because, sometimes you'll see it set up here. The subsequent printing of an additional 300 million Tether after the cancellation of that first audit I was talking about. That a lot of people got pretty questionable. It was a little bit questionable. I'm still using Tether. I'm not too worried about it, to be honest. Maybe I should be a little more worried. I'd like to get everybody else's thoughts, down below. To me, this is more or less good news. It's better than these FSS guys coming out and saying, okay, yeah, they clearly don't have enough cash to back this thing 1-to-1. This is better than that for sure. But on the flip side, on the other side of the coin, it's also possible that Tether kind of they knew what day that FSS was going to be looking at their bank accounts. They put in $2.6 billion or whatever it was that they needed to prove that they had. And then they went on their way after FSS said, hey, they're good. So it really depends. It's still kind of 50-50. It's the same situation we were in before. Maybe we'll never know until there's a real, CFTC or SEC kind of investigation on this. But for the time being, in my personal opinion, do your own research, kind of look into this more. But I'd like to get your guys' opinions. I'm still using Tether. I know a ton of day traders and other people who are still using it, but it's a little, it's a little uneasy. But here it says Tether official, audit is impossible. Tether's general counsel admitted in a phone interview with Bloomberg on Tuesday that it's not actually possible for Tether to deliver the level of assurance that an audit would provide. The bottom line is an audit cannot be attained. The big 4 firms, whatever. So, I want to get your guys' thoughts on all this. We'll move on. So basically, I want to talk a little bit about the ICO scene. And kind of, I'll bring it back to the crypto market cap because we're not going to talk about the ICO scene too much. But basically, like I was saying earlier, is back during the big bull run, ICOs were fueled by the Bitcoin and Ethereum price pumps, right? Some of it was fueled by maybe some tech behind a lot of these coins and a lot of long-term future goals. But in the crypto markets, everything goes so fast. Everybody, not only do the prices increase and decrease so fast, and technology is definitely advancing at a very fast pace in crypto as well. And a lot of the really brilliant minds are coming into crypto. But as investors, think about the stock market. When you're investing in the S&P 500, you're not expecting to get 50% year over year, and 50% in crypto. To a lot of people who are investing in crypto, they think 50% is tiny. And to me, coming from the stock market securities background, it's kind of mind blowing. And obviously I'm in crypto because it does represent those opportunities for massive gains. But, we really shouldn't put the cart before the horse. These are still companies at the end of the day. They're still humans. They're still human teams. And like Amazon and Apple and Google and Facebook and all of this stuff, they weren't built overnight, and we're still at the very, very beginning of the crypto markets, right? In general. So with this bear market in full effect, and super beaten down, a lot of people kind of just got out of the ICO game, and that's fine. It's also a lot more difficult, like I said, for the US investor to get into ICOs, but it kind of gives us a chance to start looking at the real valuable tech in these ICOs or in the coins that have already completed their ICO and they're now being listed on exchanges. This is really a good time for us. So, in my opinion, those coins that have the real tech are the ones we want to be looking at, in the days to come. And that's really self-explanatory. I just wanted to talk about how in the previous pump, it seemed to be Bitcoin and Ethereum being the sort of platform, Bitcoin being, the biggest crypto at even now and in the time before, just being around the granddaddy. I think that the next sort of bull run will be fueled primarily by, obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum will help drive the ship, but I do think that a lot of these coins that have real true underlying tech and have real business propositions for the future will really succeed. But that brings me into the next, that's kind of the ICO climate that I see coming in the future. But the next thing that I really see changing the environment of crypto as a whole is this futures stuff, right? Since December, we've been seeing the futures market really affect us as retail investors. We've sort of entered a new market climate, and we need to learn to adapt to this. So everyone is asking, when is this, when are all the institutional investors coming in to crypto? What is happening? Well, the thing is, a lot of these institutional investors probably already came, and they came in through over-the-counter products, right? They came in through futures or ICO. It's like seed rounds where it's not available to the public. Things like that. And so we really didn't see a lot of the institutional money come in quite yet. And then also, if we're going back to the crypto market cap, we're seeing such low volume and such low market cap in general that I don't think, I think some of these institutions have kind of come in, but they're just dabbling right now. They definitely haven't come full swing yet. And that'll be really interesting when they do. So I'm excited for that. Let's see. So what is a future? I had something pulled up here. Not this one. Anyway, I guess I closed out that window, but futures are more or less just a derivative financial product. It's basically a bet on which direction Bitcoin will go. Will it go up or will it go down? And they're all settled in all cash. There's no physical Bitcoin being purchased. And that's what I mean by OTC. And this is where a lot of the people in this market climate, when we're seeing Bitcoin just kind of right around 6,000, right around, 7,000, wherever we're at, this is where most of the people and probably the big whales are making a lot of their money. They're making it all in futures contracts. And we can see that in these 1 minute candles, or I'll even go down to the 5 minute candles. When you see these kind of movements in 5 to 10 minutes, look at these, you're seeing massive price movements. And a lot of this comes down to this manipulation that we've talked about in the past. So we've looked at this before. We've looked at the U.S. Commodities Futures Trading Commission has sent subpoenas to 4 cryptocurrency exchanges asking for trading data. This is nothing new. Coinbase, Kraken, Itbit, and Bitstamp are what the CME group is using to kind of peg their futures contracts. So those 4 are being subpoenaed to give over their information, so that way the CME group can really tell if any sort of misdealing is going on. But since it's all in cash, these futures contracts, that doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't affect the Bitcoin price. So when these futures contracts expire, this is one of the ways of manipulation. These guys with big money can come in and pump or dump the price real quick, so that way they win on their futures contract as it's expiring. Another way this can happen, which is even more kind of conspiratorial, is basically when you're trading on margin. And so there are margin futures trading there is margin future trading that is going on, and one of the most prominent ones is on BitMEX, and this is cause for some concern amongst the community because some people are saying that BitMEX itself could be manipulating the market pretty heavily due to a couple different factors, right? Say they have, a few thousand users that will be liquidated if Bitcoin's price rises by, 0.2%. Well, BitMEX can go in and go on their Bittrex accounts or wherever they're holding their Bitcoins or whatever, and or their cash, and they can buy into Bitcoin, raise the price by 2% or whatever it is. And then ultimately they can liquidate a lot of their clients. And I'm not saying this is for sure happening, but this is something that is on the table for a lot of people who are looking into this sort of futures contracts and how it could be, cause for some massive manipulation, because as the Bitcoin price continues to get lower, or as it has over the past 6 months or so since the futures have come out, there's cause for speculation that at a $20,000 Bitcoin, it's a lot harder to really pump the price because you need a lot more capital. But when Bitcoin price, is 6,000 or even down to 2,000 or 1,000, and there's, the volume is a bit lower, this is something that can really, that you can really affect the marketplace pretty easily with lower prices. And so, I don't know for sure, but that is something that is cause for speculation. I'm not here to try and spread FUD or bash on BitMEX or any of these other futures trading houses, right? This is just, speculation. We don't really know. It's still kind of the Wild West in the crypto market. So that's basically it. You have more power the lower the price goes. So with that said, we'll kind of move on. How do we win in a marketplace like this? It's kind of difficult, especially when you're seeing these massive pumps and then you have these really quick dumps in the matter of, 5 to 10 minutes. If we go back in time a little bit, you can find some really massive price movement. And this is probably a 20-minute window, 3 or 4%. And then even this one, this was massive, bringing down 8% in probably, I don't know, half an hour. That kind of stuff is what really is cause for concern with this manipulation deal. So, how do you win? Well, there's a couple ways that or a couple things you need to remember. So, as I was saying earlier, most of these people investing in crypto, they're kind of getting out of the traditional markets to get into crypto because they want fast returns. They want things to happen quick. But like I said, with investing in traditional securities, stocks, for example, or traditional commodities trading, they're real companies, so is crypto. A lot of these cryptocurrencies, are backed by major companies that EOS, for example, launched, and they had, a $4 billion, ICO phase. So, these are real companies at this point. Whether or not they should have raised $4 billion or however much it was is another story. But, they're real companies, and you can't expect them to succeed overnight. Facebook, Amazon, Google, I've already named these companies. They didn't succeed overnight. So if the technology doesn't change overnight, then why does the market sentiment change overnight and everybody starts to dump? Yeah, there can be some bits of news, and you kind of need to read between the lines, but that's how I'm looking to play this. Is I'm looking for technology that really makes sense in the long term. And I'll be making some videos on different coins that I'm looking at in the coming, days and weeks to kind of profit off of long term instead of, I'm definitely taking a more long term approach to this. And then also, with all of these pumps and dumps, this can be a really interesting time to use Profit Trailer and PT Feeder, because you can really play these pumps and dumps, and I'm very firm on the fact that I don't want to trade, garbage coins. So, my day trading portfolio, my PT portfolio, is all kind of back tested on coins that I actually think will provide real world use cases in the future. So I think one of the new things I'll be going over on the channel in the coming days is kind of deep diving into certain coins that I really like. Cardano or whatever the Neo, whatever the coin may be. I'll probably start to do that. So if I could get a huge favor from everybody, leave some comments on this video to what coins you'd want me to cover in a certain video. And I can just kind of do a deep dive. You guys can give me examples of whatever you want me to cover, and more than happy to do so. So with that said, join the Discord. We have a really good group of people in there, constantly chatting about really anything, day trading to long-term investing to different projects that are hitting the market on the daily. So I really appreciate that. I appreciate a thumbs up and a subscription to the YouTube channel. That would be a really big help. And if you enjoyed the content, I look forward to seeing you on the next video then. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy.